Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann, and I show people how they can live healthy, happy, sustainable lives by changing their habits and using cutting edge products to help them age well. And I'm really delighted because today I'm joined by Ron Hunt. And if you've never met Ron before, he's actually a catalyst coach. And I believe, Ron, that you're going to be talking on beat imposter syndrome with habit stacking. Is that right?
100%.
Fabulous. Well, fire away.
Well, first we have to define. This is always the challenge whenever someone starts a topic. Almost 80% of women acknowledge have imposter syndrome. Only 20% of men do. However, in my coaching experience, it seems to run pretty much equally. So the men are really behind the curve in acknowledging and confronting this. So what is our challenge? Our challenge is to relegate that negative self-talk to the curb. We need to remind ourselves that we have solved this exact problem before, and we can solve it again. The self-talk there, that's just your subconscious telling you that you can't do something, and that was probably planted in your subconscious at a very early age. We may circle back to that whether we have if we have time for it. The second thing, in order to habit stack, is to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, and remind yourself that everyone experiences self-doubt and insecurity at times. It's perfectly natural as long as you don't let it overwhelm you. Or I like to say, I'm feeling whelmed. If you're feeling whelmed, that is your trigger point, and your trigger point can be readjusted with a different habit to get you out of feeling that way. And the third thing we do is we focus on progress. Progress is the best word in the English dictionary, because when we're making progress, we're well on the way to our destination. And if we're pointed directly at our destination and we stumble a little bit, our instinct as human beings is to stop and go back to the way that we were doing things. And that is a really short trip into not accomplishing growth in your life. So we really need to reward those little gains. We need to take those big goals and divide them up into a series of steps and reward ourselves with little things. If we make the 5 phone calls, we'll read a chapter from our favorite book, or we'll make ourselves a cup of tea, or we'll walk around for 5 minutes. You'll come back more productive the next hour that you put into work. Those little self-compassion things mean everything. Seek support. Do you have a mentor? If not, get a mentor, rent a mentor, look around for people who have solved the problem that you're having. Do not ask your husband to help you with marketing if your husband is a certified public accountant. That is a sure road to confusion. Find someone who has done the thing. If you do not have a mentor, a professional coach obviously helps many, many people. We need to reframe our failures. Failure is the first step in learning. The whole goal in life when I teach new entrepreneurs is to fail forward, to take the things that went right and pick them out from the things that went wrong, and then test the variables that went wrong with a new possible solution. You'll get to your goal quicker, even if you failed a couple times, if you actually just start. And the last one is to set realistic expectations. Don't think that you're going to change the world if you can only do 2 of the 4 things that you need to do. You need to have a friend, a partner, somebody else. You need to hire somebody. If you cannot send out emails every day, hire a VA to do it for you. Build in some automation, or hire someone to do the automation for you. You can't do everything yourself. This is one of those things that society has kind of told us over the years. You can do everything if you work hard enough. Success takes time and hard work, but it also takes some structure. and accountability. And that's what differentiates the people who succeed tremendously with imposter syndrome and the people who get stuck. And I want to say something right off. Just because you identify with imposter syndrome does not mean you're not a high achiever, because we all have our self-doubts. I'm holding up my hand for those who are listening on the audio podcast. We all are going to doubt ourselves from time to time. But if we remind ourselves that we have the skills, we know the people that have the skills, we have a plan to get things done, we will not be spending 45 minutes writing 45-second emails. The problem with imposter syndrome with really successful people is that you are going to burn out within 5 years of getting that new high powered job, because you haven't put in your controls, you haven't put in your brakes. So we want to keep you from burning out. Everyone talks about burnout. It's a huge topic, Julie, and I'm sure that you hear it almost every day or whenever you go to a coaching symposium. But burnout is the symptom. Imposter syndrome is the root cause. We need to work on root causes in this world. So, Julie, do you have any questions, or can I start talking about some of the specific ways that
you can absolutely, Ron, and I want to hold my hand up, because of course I have self-doubt. Being a human being, we do experience that, don't we? Especially when we're doing something new. And I also love the fact that you talked about rewarding, that we need to reward ourselves, because I think that's something that we overlook. Like you say, we're very good at looking at what hasn't worked, but looking at what has worked and giving ourselves a pat on the back or whatever it is we need, something nourishing to reward ourselves with, is really, really a great incentive. And we all like to be acknowledged, don't we? So it's important, if no one else is, that we're doing that for ourselves. So absolutely, Ron.
Okay.
Proceed.
So when someone comes into my coaching practice, we go through a series of questions. I ask them if they have said said it out loud, that they held up their hand and said, I have imposter syndrome. I don't feel I can do X, Y, or Z. And once you do that, you don't have to say it out loud to your coach. You can do it in the corner of your living room. You can journal it. But first, the first thing you have to do is break the silence. And then what we do is we separate what's real from what you fear will occur. Because as everyone coaches, and coaches will share with you, fear is future events appearing real. You think that the worst is going to happen, but if you actually chart it, if you write down the things that you think are going to happen and you look at them the next day, 90% of them didn't happen. 90% of the things went right. You did a work yesterday because you weren't afraid to do it. So again, plans of action. And that's where we start incorporating in a little bit of homework into our practice. Accept that you are going to have to acquire new skills to accomplish tasks. This is my favorite. I always say, what is the one thing that if you did better would change your current situation? And it can be a skill you already have that you don't acknowledge, that you just need to tweak a little bit. I actually have a series of 52 skill sets in that I sell as ebooks on Amazon. We'll circle back to that. But everybody has something they can improve on that will move their needle. And if we identify the first thing and take it out in a week, in the course of a year, you're going to be a completely new person. You're going to get another promotion. You're going to feel comfortable with it. You'll be able to fund your retirement. You'll be able to pay off your credit cards and your student loans. That's what happens when you start believing in yourself and acquiring the skills that you need. It doesn't have to be one of my ebooks. At this point, you can go to YouTube. Again, you can ask your mentor, and we'll circle back to mentors at least one more time. You can take a course, and my favorite, you can tear a book apart. Go to a bookstore, go to Amazon, and look for a 5-star book on the subject that you want to improve on. Start reading it, turn the corners of the pages, underline the important sections, highlight them, say them out loud, it's the same thing as taking a $2,000 course, but you're doing it for $20. Um, Again, I ask people to visualize. Can you remember the similar time that you accomplished that goal? Now, in my NLP practice, if people don't have that picture, we can actually help imprint that picture on their memory. If we can think of ourselves crossing that finish line, it doesn't have to be a road race. It could be getting a task done. It could be having that difficult meeting with your spouse or your partner or your employee. But if we can see that being resolved and shaking hands or hugging in that picture, even if we don't have it currently, that picture actually ends up being as real as actually having done it if we do it properly. And then we usually the second session we start doing what would a healthy response to failure and mistake making be. So that's where we start setting in the new rules. If this, then what? I have identified our triggers. We know that before this bad possible outcome happens, something else happens. So when that first trigger happens, when your spouse comes home and slams their keys on the counter, you kind of know that there's going to be an unpleasant interaction afterwards. So if you see them starting to slam their keys on the counter, say, you know what? I think it would be a good idea for us to go for a walk before you get to the next action. And you go for a walk, and all of a sudden, maybe they will tell you what happened during the day, and it doesn't become this nasty encounter with you. It's healthy for both of you. If everyone can identify a situation in their life where they can figure out what happens before the thing, that's life changing for people. And then we need selective amnesia. We in sports in America, we say if you throw an interception, you have to be able to throw the next perfect pass. You can't have tunnel vision. Just because something went wrong yesterday, if we've taken account of it, we and figured out the triggers, we don't have to picture that wrong thing happening over and over again because we're actually attracting that wrong thing back to us. There's a whole theory right now called Lucky Girl. If you go up on Instagram or TikTok and go hashtag Lucky Girl, and Lucky Girl basically means you get up in the morning and you say, I attract good things in my life. I attract money to my life. They used to be called affirmations. What I teach is that you have to manifest your affirmations. It's fantastic to say that I bring luck to my life. I get lucky every day. You have to have a plan. How do you put yourself in a position where you will be lucky, where people will come up to you at a networking group? Are you? I always tell people when they begin networking, have a series of questions to ask the other person. Because if you can get someone else to talk in an animated way, that's going to attract other people who you actually need to talk to at that meeting to come up to you because they will see that you are the person who listens. And that is basically the first short-term series of things you need to do to start changing your life.
Love that, Ron. So much in it, and I love the strategy of taking your partner out for a walk. You know, going out for a walk and changing the environment and kind of getting around the possibility of things turning out as perhaps they normally would when you sit at home with them and they've slammed the keys on the counter. So well, if any, go on.
I was going to say, Julie, I mean, we have short-term clients and we have long-term clients. I want people to have quick wins.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to turn things around quickly. And if I can solve their biggest problem and they go away, they'll be back in 6 months or they'll refer their friends. I am not the person who wants to have that long-term Talk about your feelings ad infinitum without any action items.
Absolutely, I'm exactly the same way. So for those of you watching, if what Ron has been saying is music to your ears, then check out his links below. Everything that he does will be below this video. So reach out to him and have a conversation. My link will be there as well. So thank you ever so much, Ron, for talking to us today. It was very enlightening. And
I love what I do. I'm blessed. You know, I've got the perfect job. I help people succeed. What better thing in life is this?
absolutely. And thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.